Coming up on No Pulp, I'll tell you how Mel Tucker is a straight-up liar.
Oh boy, I'm excited for that segment. I'll tell you who Colorado should hire to replace him.
And we will tell you a little bit about a baby giraffe. I know it doesn't make sense, but it will later. But for now, it's time for another edition of No Pulp, and it starts right now.
What's up, party people?
He has finally silenced the doubters once and for all.
Small schools can jump up and beat these big teams.
That offense is going to be fantastic.
I am ready to go to battle.
Oh, hey there. Welcome into the CitrusTV studios. I'm Jaron May. He's Cameron Macaulay, and we are your guides for the next 30 minutes through all of college athletics' biggest stories. Cam, did you bring your map today?
I don't need a map to talk about college
Okay,
athletics.
well, I have my map.
You're the rookie. That makes sense.
All right, let's start right now in Manhattan, where attorney Michael Aventi was convicted for trying to extort Nike for millions of dollars and will not testify in his trial. Listen to this recording of some pretty damning evidence against him.
You know, we're going to negotiate $1.5 million, and you're gonna hire us to do an internal investigation, but it's going to be capped at $3 or $5 or $7 million. Like, let's just be done.
So, Michael, I hear you.
And I'll go take $10 billion off your client's market cap.
Reporters say Avenatti has information about the company paying high-level high school recruits to go to Nike-sponsored schools. So, Cam, how big of an impact is this story on college athletics?
Okay, first of all, toss that map. Avenatti.
Okay?
Yeah,
okay. All right.
Avenatti.
All right. All right. Let's just get into it.
Let's talk about this story, okay? Because this is actually a big win for the NCAA. Gary Franklin is the guy who testified a couple of weeks ago, said that Nike employees made him make payments of tens of thousands of dollars to high-profile athletes and disguise it as payments for the Nike EYBL team that he ran in AAU ball. Those athletes are DeAndre Ayton, who went to Arizona, a Nike school, Bol Bol, who went to Oregon, a Nike school, and Brandon McCoy, who went to a Nike school in UNLV. Now, Avenatti has claimed that he has tons of information on this stuff, and the fact that he is not testifying against this right now is a big win, because this could be a Pandora's box of this whole FBI investigation that just splits open and really wrecks the sport.
Yeah, now the thing that I want to look at is how this impacts the past, really, because these players, like you said, went to Nike schools and do those schools vacate wins? Does the NCAA have to vacate those wins?
Probably. Does that mean anything?
I mean, it probably does. Do specific players lose accolades or any type of winning that they had in the college level?
But is DeAndre Ayton going to care about that? He went first overall.
I mean, if you're an opposing team that might have lost to Oregon or to Arizona and it was because of these players, you could be pretty mad about that, so you probably want those wins vacated.
Okay, but that doesn't give you anything back. Listen, while the NCAA waits for the potential Avenatti fallout, they're busy working on the issue of student athletes profiting off their name, image, and likeness, which is the other big story in college sports this season. On Tuesday, NCAA President Mark Emmert testified before Congress over this issue. He said, quote, "How do you determine what the real marketplace is? How do you manage that? How do you police that? I think the groups working on the issue are making some really good strides in that direction." Jaron, what does this mean for this ongoing issue?
Well, it means that the NCAA wants more money, and they want to prolong this issue as long as possible. We both know that the NCAA loves to make money, and if they get Congress and government involved, well, it's going to take longer because they're going to have to figure out all of that. So if they get that involved, they have more time to make money until the new rules get in place and they start to lose money. So they're just trying to get some more moolah in their pockets.
And they're spending money to make money because reports are coming out that they spent $750,000 lobbying Congress about this. But I don't know if it's going to work because of all the scandal that's happening over this. I mean, Congress is looking to pass a uniform law. We just saw Oregon today, at the time of this show is recorded, pass a second law, the California law. They passed the bill that would allow student athletes to profit off name, image, and likeness. So I just don't know if the Congress trusts the NCAA enough to really have them be the defining factor on this issue. So I don't know how much this does for the NCAA.
All right, well, Cam, let's move on to something that hits home for you, and I'm sorry about this. Mel Tucker is, well, to put it simply, a liar. The former Colorado football head coach was at a reception with donors last week, pledging his commitment to the team and explaining how really he wanted to stay there. But an hour later, Tucker finalized a deal with Michigan State to become its new head coach. So, Cam, as a Colorado fan, how does this feel?
This is stinky,
I
man.
know.
This is just flat out stinky from Mel Tucker because it's a preach what you practice kind of deal. This guy was on local sports radio talk shows in Colorado the day he got hired, the day he left, talking about how committed he was to the program. You don't post a tweet that says to the public how committed you are and then leave 3 days later. You don't preach integrity and then bolt without addressing the team. He just walked out in the middle of the night. Now, there are reports saying that he was not allowed to speak with the team before he left. And yes, I get this. Michigan State doubled his salary, reportedly. This is a better job, and this speaks a lot about what the Colorado job is and what the Pac-12 means. But when you build your character off of having integrity, and this is what you do, this is how you leave, there's a right way to do it. This isn't it, and it tells you everything you need to know about Mel Tucker's character.
I mean, it's also kind of a slap in the face because when you look at it, a slap in the face for himself, because now if you're another team trying to hire him away from Michigan State down the line, how can you trust him? How can you really trust this guy that has been proven to be a hypocrite? You say that he was talking all about character, and then, well, he leaves his team high and dry a couple hours later after preaching that he loves them.
If you're a potential recruit for Michigan State, how do you trust that this guy won't leave after a year?
You don't. You don't.
That's the case. Well, listen, Tucker leaving in the middle of the night creates a big opening at head coach for the Buffs. Plenty of names have already surfaced on this, including Eric Bieniemy, Steve Sarkisian, how about even Bob Stoops? Jaron, where should you see you go for their next head man?
I got Bieniemy because, well, he's an offensive mastermind, and that's really what Colorado needs. They were 100th in the FBS in scoring offense a season ago, so their offense needs some help. Bieniemy, as the offensive coordinator at the Kansas City Chiefs this past season, put together an amazing team, and he was a big reason why Patrick Mahomes was a thrilling quarterback and really strived to be as great as he was. And now you have Brendan Lewis coming in as an incoming freshman. He's a 4-star recruit, the number 12 best dual threat quarterback in this recruiting class. Those are some young pieces that he can really work with. And then my second idea for Colorado is Brian Harsin. He's the Boise State head coach right now, and yes, he might not really want the job, but the thing is, he's a straight-up winner, and I'm sorry to say this, but that's what Colorado needs. They don't win too much.
You don't have to tell me that, Jaron.
He's a winner. So, I mean, he's had double-digit wins in 5 of the last 6 seasons. If he really wants to go there, I don't really know, but he could be a good candidate for them.
The thing with Bieniemy, it's perfect, right? It's almost too perfect, and it is too perfect because he is going to be an NFL coach in 2 years, so you're not getting any longevity hiring him. 2 guys I'm looking at for this Colorado job, okay? First one, Graham Harrell, the offensive coordinator at USC. One of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history for Texas Tech, played for Mike Leach, coached with Mike Leach, took his first job at offensive coordinator, made UNC from one of the worst offenses in terms of efficiency to about a mid-tier offense, but that's a 60-team jump. And then you talk about what he did at USC, 46th in offensive S&P Plus, which is an efficiency stat in 2018, 9th in 2019. If you need a defensive guy, how about Aaron Avalos, the defensive coordinator at Oregon last season? Same kind of effect, Andy Avalos, excuse me, on that one. He revolutionized this Oregon defense, brought in a multiple front scheme, took a talented defense, made it really good, took that Oregon team to great heights defensively. He has experience in Colorado. He's the guy, and you talk about salary, they could triple his salary and still not pay as much as they paid Mel Tucker. So those are the 2 young guys I'm looking at, young coordinators to take this program to the next step.
Yeah, I mean, Tucker's late departure really kind of left them in a tight place. Finally, Cam, Sharif O'Neal is following in his dad's footsteps. The son of basketball legend Shaq is transferring to LSU from UCLA. Sharif was a 4-star recruit before taking a medical redshirt year. Cam, does this transfer really push the needle for you?
Of course it does. This is a big transfer. This guy's a 4-star who really had a tough spell because he had to miss his freshman season because of open heart surgery.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's tough. He played just 13 games, but I don't know how good he's going to be, but he needs that chance. He only played 13 games at UCLA, wasn't getting opportunities, and frankly, I'm rooting for him. Follow in your dad's footsteps, make your name, go out and get it.
I mean, I would love him to succeed, but the thing is, I don't think he really is, because LSU right now is a young team that has a lot of growing players that are already in the system. He's going to come into that system a step behind them, and now he's going to have to work double that, and I just don't think that he's that great of a recruit.
Coming up, we're 2 weeks into the college lacrosse season, and lacrosse expert Noah Searson will join us to debate yours truly on the biggest story so far. Quick hint on how this is going to go. I'm going to win, okay? We're back in 90.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back. Hopefully you didn't miss us too much. You know, I'm Jaron May. He's Cameron Macaulay. But you might not know this guy. Why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, so I would like to consider myself a lacrosse expert, but in reality, I just have a love for the game ever since I was young. So I'm here to talk about a little bit of lacrosse.
Let's keep it shorter.
That's my love story with lacrosse.
This is Noah Searson. He's wearing Crocs down there. And guys, basically what we're going to do is we're going to debate. This is a pen, but it might as well be a gavel. I'm going to give you a question. You're going to have to answer. Let's keep it a little concise. And then I will pick, well, a winner and see who knows more about lacrosse. Let's get
Judge Jaron.
Does that sound good? We good with that? Yeah. All right. The first question. Who is the biggest surprise team in men's lacrosse this year? Guess first. Noah, why don't you start us off?
All right, thank you very much, Jaron. I'm going to travel to Geneva, New York, the Hobart Statesmen, and the big thing that jumps off the page for me with Hobart is the fact that, let's look right here, 48 goals they have scored in only 2 games. They've taken down Canisius and Siena. Obviously not powerhouse teams, but the fact that their offense has been that great has been amazing. They lead the country in scoring margin at 15.5 goals that they are winning by on average. So not only are they getting it done on the offensive end, but also the defensive end. I look for Eric Holden, who's really been the leader of this team. Hobart looks great.
You said it, Canisius and Siena. Let's talk about teams that have actually beaten good teams, and that is Loyola, for me, the biggest surprise of the season. They lost a guy who's pretty good last year in Pat Spencer. They also lost an All-American goalie, and they haven't really missed a beat this year. They almost came back and beat Virginia in week 1. They almost had that, and then they built upon that, learned from that. They're a young team, they grew, and they beat Johns Hopkins this season for the 3rd straight year. Kevin Lindley, that's the guy in number 7, not Pat Spencer. He already has 6 goals, and their goalie's making big saves, just like last year, and I think that surprises a lot of people.
Cam, one quick note I would like to say. Loyola does have one thing that Hobart doesn't have, and that's a loss. I rest my case, Judge Jaron.
I like that. I'm going to go with Noah for this first one.
Okay.
It is 1-0 for Noah.
Canisius.
Well, they still lost. Let's keep it moving and look at the other side of things. Which team has been the most disappointing so far? Cam, all you.
It's got to be Towson. This team had a ton of hype coming into the preseason. They were ranked 17. They lose at Johns Hopkins, which is not a very impressive performance. And then they lose to Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's. It's the first time Mount St. Mary's has ever beaten Towson, and that is not very cash money of the Tigers. They're a ranked team coming in preseason. They're definitely not ranked now, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah, you already mentioned them, Cam, but I'm going to go to the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins as my most disappointing team this year for the pure fact that, yeah, they got that win over Towson, but like you said, they're not great this year. And then they go and lay an egg against the Loyola team that has been impressive, but they're very young, and they lost a lot of guys last year, Pat Spencer and Chase Scanlon. And also, I look at the injuries. Joey Epstein was ranked the #1 freshman in the country last year by Inside Lacrosse. He had 48 goals and 25 assists as a freshman for Johns Hopkins. This year, he didn't play in the first game of the year, despite preseason saying that he'd be able to play.
Okay, this is all fluff. Which team won the game?
Johns Hopkins did. Johns Hopkins did win, but it's about the disappointment.
He got you. Let's keep it moving. Obviously, that one's going to go to Cam. Now, guys, who has been the most impressive team in this early season? Noah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Maryland. They're 3-0 on the season this year. One of two teams that have two top 20 wins rather, on the year, and they've been spectacular. They beat number 6 Penn. They also beat High Point. Also, a very good double overtime win against a Richmond squad that has been getting some votes in the polls recently. Logan Wisnauskas, 10 goals and 8 assists already on the season. Wasn't even on the Tour-a-thon watch list, but he could be making his way onto it soon. And then also freshman Daniel Maltz, one of the best freshmen in the country. 7 goals, 2 assists, and has 4 individual man-up goals. Look, there's so much to talk about with this Maryland squad.
They had to come back against Richmond and Penn. The other 2-0. They're also a top 5 team coming in. Team that wasn't in the top 5, Army. They are outscoring their opponents 51-9. And who's that other team that played 2 top 20 opponents? Yeah, it's Army. Brendan Nichtern is tied for 3rd in the country with 18 points. He looks like an All-American. Army looks legit, and they might just take down Syracuse on Sunday.
I mean, I don't know how you can argue with 51-9. That's a crazy stat. Cam gets this one as well, 2-1 in favor of Cam. All right, the final one. Which specific player has impressed you most, Cam? Start us off.
Nikki Solomon at UNC. A lot of talk at UNC was about Chris Gray coming in, obviously, first-team All-American last year. Solomon has the same amount of points as him, and he has 1 more assist than he does. And you look at this UNC offense, he has been the guy. Watch this. That's a one-handed shovel pass assist through 2 defenders. Is your guy going to pull that off?
Yes, he actually is. My guy is Chase Scanlon, and look, he has 9 points, 3 assists on the season this year. Looked great for Syracuse, but the reason why he's my most impressive player is the fact that he's been able to infiltrate a Syracuse squad that was stacked after being a transfer. He takes that number 22 that is so coveted, and he has that connection with Stephen Rafis. He looks good with Griffin Cook, and I think not only the stats he's putting up, but the chemistry just proves why Chase Scanlon has been the most impressive player this year.
He was a preseason All-American. Nikki Solomon had 0 preseason accolades. Who has more points?
Just because he was a preseason All-American doesn't mean he can't still impress. It doesn't mean he can't impress.
All right, I like your argument. You are wearing Crocs, and I do have to hold that against you. He did get you with the points, and I don't like a tie, so I'm going to give this one to Cam. He wins 3-1. But hey, thank you for joining us here on No Pulp.
It was rigged.
All right, well, after this, Cam and I will be breaking out some moolah and playing a little game of buy or sell. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on No Pulp.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom.
Welcome back to No Pulp. He's Jaron May. I'm Cameron Macaulay. Time to play the marketplace a little bit. Let's buy or sell some of the underrated stories in college sports this week. Starting down in Gainesville, where longtime coach Billy Donovan returned to the O'Connell Center for the first time in 5 years as Florida is naming the court there after him. You buy or sell this?
I'm going to buy this one because, I mean, he's the best coach in Florida basketball history. He coached there for 19 years. He won 2 national championships, the only Florida coach to ever win a natty. Plus, he had a 72% winning percentage. He is an absolute god down in Florida, and he deserves that recognition.
How can you not buy this? He's the longest serving, he's the winningest, and he has the highest win percentage of any Florida coach ever. Greatest coach ever, straight up no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so our next topic, let's keep it moving. The next buy or sell topic comes from the great state of Minnesota. Their Target printed and tried to sell a onesie that said Minnesota Badgers. The Badgers obviously referring to Minnesota's biggest rival, Wisconsin. Not a great look. Target really didn't apologize to and only said, well, they would remove the product. So Cam, are you buying Target's response?
I'm selling it. I don't know how you can really buy this response. I mean, it's a gaffe, it's an honest mistake. But, you know, you have to understand the history between these two teams. They do not like each other, and your response is just kind of a little corporate PR stunt. I get it. It's a mistake. Just own up to it.
I'm going to sell this one as well because, well, Noah Searson, who was just on this show, is from Minnesota, and I quote, he said he is, quote, disgusted and, quote, loses sleep at night that his team is ever referred to in the same sentence with Wisconsin. So you got to give the great people of Minnesota a little more than just hey, we'll take it off the shelves.
Rough week to be Noah Searson. Speaking of gaffes, number 2 Louisville baseball committed one in the bottom of the 9th at Ole Miss as Justin Levy got caught stealing by Hayden Dunhurst to end the game. Let's roll the tape on this one. You need to see the celebration on this. Okay, here it is. There he is, gets caught stealing, and here we go. There's so much to break down. Second baseman spiking it. You've got 2 guys jump high five. Here's the kicker. Oh, dunk contest through the legs. You buying or selling this?
I'm selling this because, I mean, call me a baseball traditionalist. I hate this. I mean, give your teammate a high five, give him a hug, be pumped up, yell, whatever you want to do. But that was choreographed. That means that they spend time in practice and outside to actually choreograph this. That's ridiculous.
It means they're having fun. Let the kids have fun, man. If you do something good in baseball at any level, you should get to have fun with it.
So you're buying?
I'm buying it.
Okay.
Yeah, baseball is not in a good state right now. We need more fun. Let the kids have fun.
All right. Let's move on to our final topic. The Baton Rouge Zoo named a baby giraffe Burrow after LSU quarterback star Joe Burrow. Cam, there should only be one answer for this. Are you buying or selling?
I'm buying this. This was based off of a fan vote that went to charity. And listen, fan votes can go a lot worse. We don't want a Giraffe McGiraffe face or whatever the heck it is that the fan votes go for. And hey, this man is a legend. I don't think you go to the zoo to see goats, so name a giraffe after him.
Cam, I would quite literally buy this giraffe if it was ever possible. So I'm absolutely
financial mogul.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying this story. That's so cute.
All right. Listen, one last break on No Pulp. Coming up, we'll call the biggest games of the weekend and give our final thoughts. You've come this far. Don't change the channel now.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. and move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back into the Citrus TV studio. We're almost done here on No Pulp. He's Cameron Macaulay. I am Jaron May. Cam, let's get right into our big games of the week. The first being #1 Baylor hosting #3 Kansas in men's basketball. Who you got in that one?
Baylor has, in my opinion, the best backcourt in the country and the best defense in the country. Those two things win you a heck of a lot of ball games. Give me the Bears.
All right. I also think that history repeats itself because, well, Baylor beat Kansas at Kansas by 12 earlier in the year, and Baylor's only getting better. I'm taking Baylor as well.
And that result was flattering to Kansas. All right. Yeah. Also, out on the lacrosse field, we also have a 1 versus 3. #1 Penn State taking on #3 Yale. Yale's had the better of Penn State in this series. Do they get the upset?
Well, I'm picking the #1 team in the nation because, well, they're the #1 team in the nation. I'm picking Penn State in this one because their offense is great, their defense is great, their goalkeeper is great, and the duo of Grant Ament and Mac O'Keefe is just absolutely lethal.
All those things you talked about are nice, but you know what you can't do? You can't score in lacrosse if you don't have the ball. And Yale's got T.D. Erlin, who might be the greatest face-off. Maybe not. No, not might. He is the greatest face-off guy in the history of college lacrosse, all-time ground ball leader. He went 26 for 26 in a game against Harvard last year. That's impressive. And, you know, Eamon and O'Keefe, they'll be fine on the sidelines. Yale's got this game.
All right, well, those are our big games of the week. Now let's move into our final words. And my final words are pretty simple. College baseball is a scam. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like baseball, but the college version of it is just not worth playing for multiple reasons. #1, there are plenty of stories of players who go from high school to semi-pro, dedicating all of their time to the sport and then going to the minors or pros. #2, college baseball rules are not like the MLB. An example, well, they use metal bats opposed to wood. #3, and finally, college baseball is only popular in the South. Only 3 teams in the top 25 are above the Mason-Dixon line. The sport is boring and just is not worth playing, and well, I rest my case. Cam?
This makes sense as to why you were so out on buying or selling that Ole Miss celebration.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You just don't like anything.
All right, your final words?
My final words, going back home, we're going back to Boulder, okay? CU fans, including myself, are rightfully furious with Mel Tucker from bolting for the football program quite literally in the middle of the night. But this also presents an opportunity to recognize a coach who is not only excellent, but is CU through and through. Colorado basketball, okay, currently 18th in the polls. They just lost to Oregon, I know, but they're right up at the top of the Pac-12. They were 16th last week. That's their highest ranking in 6 years, and they just secured their 20th win for the 11th time in program history. Tab Boyle has been the head coach for 7 of them, and more than just being the greatest coach in program history. He has turned down interest from plenty of other teams. Texas A&M, Kansas State, Nebraska, just to name a few. He has said, and I quote, in light of the Mel Tucker news, commitment and loyalty aren't words that you can talk about. They're things you have to demonstrate and exhibit in your actions. He does that night in, night out, every time his Buffaloes take the floor. CU is his dream job. He has said that time and time again, and he is the dream coach for CU basketball. Fans need to recognize that, along with being the most underrated coach in the nation, flat out, straight up. The Buffs are legit Final Four contenders this year, so go ahead and build that statue, Rick George, because Tad Boyle deserves it and more.
Wow. Do you need a second to catch your breath? That was a lot.
I can talk about Mel Tucker. I can't talk about Mel Tucker. I can also talk about Tab Boyle all day. Colorado basketball, let's go. McKinley Wright, Tyler Bay, Evan Batty.
All right.
Those are my boys.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have today for No Pulp. Make sure you follow us on social media at CitrusTV Sports and tune in on OTN for all of your Citrus TV content. For Cameron Macaulay, I'm Jaron May saying have a nice night. We'll see you next time, and make sure you make those bets. Cam, see ya.